Right now in our Indiana.
We recap the women's basketball team's performance in the WNIT and show you that spring sports are in full swing.
We also discuss the big story that starts a new era in IU basketball.
Welcome to Our Indiana. I'm Nicole Christine.
And I'm Brad Davis. We start tonight's show off with the women's basketball team and their journey through the WNIT. After defeating SMU by 20 points Thursday, IU women's basketball took to the court again Sunday for the WNIT quarterfinals matchup against Villanova. Indiana came into the contest riding high off a 3-game win streak, but were unable to contain the Wildcats, losing final score 69-57. It was the final game for seniors Carly McBride, Jen Anderson, and Alexis Gassian, who finished their IU careers with 80 victories in 4 seasons.
IU softball began Big Ten play this weekend with a home series against Rutgers. The Hoosiers opened up the series with a strong offensive performance Friday, outscoring the Scarlet Knights 9-2. Then in its second game of the day, IU exploded offensively with 14 different players scoring a run. The Hoosiers took that game in just 5 innings, 23-2. On Saturday, IU lost momentum and was defeated 5-7, but the team still sealed its first conference series win of the season.
It's almost April, which means it's almost time for Little 500 here at IU. This weekend marked the first major event of the bike season, with qualifications taking place all day Saturday. 33 men's and 32 women's teams qualified for the annual Little 500 race this weekend. Leading the men's teams was Sigma Alpha Epsilon, followed by Beta Theta Pi and Cutters. For the women, Delta Gamma took pole position and broke the record for the fastest qualifying time for a women's team in history, with 2 minutes and 33.3 seconds. Kappa Alpha Theta, the 2016 pole winner, placed second.
IU baseball opened Big Ten play this weekend with a 3-game sweep of Northwestern. On Friday, the Hoosiers picked up a doubleheader sweep 13-9 and 6-5. Sophomore Matt Lloyd's 4 home runs highlighted the day, and junior Brian Hobby threw his first career complete game in the second contest. A move in gameplay from Saturday to Sunday didn't slow down the Hoosiers as they completed the series sweep Sunday 10-9.
The men's swimming and diving team traveled to Indianapolis last weekend to compete in the 2017 NCAA championships. IU placed 7th overall in competition, but was a top Big Ten finisher. Blake Peroni recorded the finish for Hoosier in the 100 freestyle in 40 years with an 8th place finish. In the platform dive consolation final, Cody Calderon earned honorable mention All-America honors the first time of his career. The 7th place finish ties the school's best finish from 38 years ago in 1979.
Football is back, kind of. Last Saturday, the Hoosiers suited up for a spring scrimmage, which gave new head coach Tom Allen a first look at his team. After the scrimmage, Allen talked with media and expressed the number of positives he saw. He noted improvements from senior quarterback Richard Lego and said that both sides of the ball were effective when they needed to be. IU's annual spring Cream vs. Crimson game is set for April 13th at 7 p.m.
With a lot of sports winding down as spring starts, we look at what happens in the offseason.
Our Indiana's Tyler Sorg sits down with IU volleyball setter Victoria Brissek to find out more.
Thanks, Nicole. Welcome to Who's That Hoosier? I'm Tyler Sorg. Today we are joined by IU volleyball's freshman setter, Victoria Brissek. Victoria, thanks for joining us.
Of course, I'm happy to be here.
So you're in the off-season right now. Tell me how off-season training has been going.
It's been going really well, especially for the team. I mean, spring is all about learning for us because we get a couple competition dates, but really it's kind of a free-for-all. So everything's just about getting better, improving upon individual stuff and team chemistry, getting ready for the new team, the new season in the fall.
So is there a certain part of your game you're really trying to work on?
For me personally right now, it's just the setting consistency, really being able to develop that connection with the hitters and the passers, and also defense. Being a taller setter, that's never really been a huge focus for me at a younger age, and now it's obviously a pretty big part of the game, so always working on that part.
And you guys lost 5 seniors, of course. So who is, in the time you've had, really stepped up as a leader for the team?
Well, Jessica Leash, being our only senior now in this next coming fall, is obviously a huge leader for us. Being the only one, we'll have 16 girls coming in the fall, and she's the only one to lead that from the senior class. So, but she's a great personality for it. She's so positive and so upbeat, and we all look to her. She's a great connection between the team and the coaches. And then also Elizabeth Asdale is also doing an awesome job. She just is such a hard worker, and she's so easy to follow and such a great example.
And you've had a pretty busy off-season yourself. You tried out for the national team. Can you tell me about that? How was that process for you?
It was a lot of fun. It's actually my second year doing that. Did that last year when I came in early, and then also when I was younger, I went to Colorado Springs for a similar thing. And so this was kind of like a three-peat, and it was really fun to be back. It was a great group to go with, Allie Badowski, Deja Lofton, and Elizabeth Asdale. And it's just a lot of fun. It's 3 days of straight volleyball, a lot of competing. They just want to see like how hard can you go, and just who the best is. And honestly, I think all four of us had a really great showing. I don't know if we'll make teams or not. That's obviously not in our control anymore. But all four of us had just a wonderful tryout and met a lot of really great people. So,
was there anything you learned from trying out for the national team?
just go. A lot of people kind of stop and try to think their way through things. And when you're there, you get a drill introduced and you have to just go and just play and kind of figure it out as you go and just compete. So it was just a great 3 days of competing.
And what should fans expect to see, obviously, from the team? Obviously, there's a lot of changes going on right now. So next season, what will the team look like? What are you expecting from yourself?
We still have 5 freshmen coming in, so that'll obviously change the team quite a bit. But this team, I think, is going to be a lot closer than any of the teams that the fans have probably seen in a while. We are all very well connected. The chemistry is awesome. We trust each other a lot. And so just that chemistry will really shine through on the court, and we'll have a ton of fun. We always have a ton of fun. Even this spring so far, we always have big smiles on our faces, and anyone that doesn't usually ends up by the end.
And personally, you're a double major. How is that like, balancing the school and athletic balance?
It can be stressful at times, especially in the fall when you're traveling so much, but honestly, there's so many people around us to help us schedule things the right way and to help make sure we're on top of things that it's really hard to fall behind. And so it's a time management thing, and there's some sacrifices that you have to give up every once in a while, maybe, not going out on the weekends or not having quite the social lives that other people have, but it's a sacrifice that we all made as soon as we signed our letter of intent. So I love it. I wouldn't change it for anything.
So if there's one goal, either personally or for the team next year, what would that be?
10 wins in the Big Ten. That's a goal we've been striving for, I know, for sure the last couple of years, and we've been just shy. And 10 wins would just about for sure guarantee us a spot in the national tournament, and that's a big thing that we've been striving for the last few years.
All right, well, I really appreciate you being here. And that's all the time we have for this week's edition of Who's That Hoosier. Thank you again, Victoria, for taking the time to join us. Back to you, Nicole and Brad.
Thank you, Tyler. Coming up on Our Indiana.
We cover the hiring of Archie Miller and what it means for IU. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Sage Steele of ESPN. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for Indiana University.
Welcome back to Our Indiana.
The search is over, and IU has chosen Archie Miller as its new basketball coach.
For those not familiar with the new coach, Our Indiana is here to give you an introduction.
Indiana wins it. What a way to start the season.
points in the second half has moved the Hoosiers to within 1 second of a national championship.
He gets to Robert Johnson to Blackman for an open three. Got it! James Blackman.
Indiana win it outright, or will Michigan gain a tie? Burke inside, long put back, rolls off the rim, tapped out to Zeller, and the Hoosiers win it outright.
Now that we've gotten a glimpse at IU's new coach, it's time to hear what he could do.
And for that, we'll send it over to Jordan on Cream versus Crimson.
Hello and welcome to this special Archie Miller edition of Cream v. Crimson. I'm Jordan Burroughs, and with me today is our Indiana's own Joe DiBenedetto and IDS basketball beat reporter Zane Piarli. Joe and Zane, here we are approximately 48 hours since the news that Archie Miller will become the 29th head coach of Indiana's basketball team, and his press conference was just a few hours ago inside Assembly Hall, and people seem to be all around the hype, all around the buzz surrounding Archie. So tell me this, Zane, we'll start with you. First question, initial thoughts about the hiring with Archie Miller.
I thought it was a great hire, honestly. And when you look at Archie Miller and the body of work that he's been able to do at Dayton over the past 6 years, take them to 4 straight NCAA tournaments in his final 4 years and even 1 Elite Eight, that just shows the coach he is and the amount that his players are able to give in and to his program and whatnot. And he didn't necessarily have the best talent at Dayton, but he was still able to take them to new heights. And even this season, 15-3 in the conference and a 7 seed in the NCAA tournament, I thought this was a home run hire for Fred Glass.
You know, I'm bought in. I'm definitely saying it's Miller time now. I thought that, you know, this is Indiana basketball. We need to act and act fast. We couldn't wait for the NBA playoffs to end, or we couldn't wait for the tournament to end for, you know, a home run, a grand slam shot like a Billy Donovan. We got the hottest coach on the market right now at a young age, Archie Miller, and he comes from a basketball family. His press conference was phenomenal today. He addressed everyone by their first names, which I loved. You know, he wasn't about the politics. He was about basketball, and he was about talking about the inside-out effect of the state of Indiana. So I think, like Zane said, I think it's a home run hit.
Yeah, and with Archie Miller's press conference, I thought things went really well. I kind of thought maybe it was a little bit like planned out, like, you know, we're looking for that Indiana guy. But I think Archie Miller coming into the whole situation has a lot of good stuff going on. Fred Glass even said this is the one guy they asked to coach Indiana, and, you know, that's what happened. So there are a couple guys that dropped the recruitment status and wanted to be released from Indiana. How is Archie Miller going to go about recruiting new guys inside the state of Indiana? What about the guys that have left? Zan?
Well, Archie has already actually reached out to both Clifton Moore and Al Durham, 2 guys that asked for the release of the National Letter of Intent. But with him, at least what he said in the press conference, is that he wants to start inside the state and really dominating the state recruiting-wise, and then working outward, whether it's, you know, going to New York or even overseas and finding the best talent, because he firmly believes that Indiana has the best basketball talent, and he's recruited successfully in the state before. So there's no reason to believe once he you know, makes those connections with high school coaches, AAU coaches, and other players around the state, there's no reason to believe why Indiana should not be getting top targets from the state in the future.
Right. So I agree with you, Zan, but I kind of have my, you know, my doubts as well, because, you know, Tom Crean said the same thing. So when are we going to get that, you know, that Mr. Basketball from this state. I'm looking forward to seeing, don't get me wrong, I'm looking forward to seeing what Archie Miller can bring to the table. And I'm looking forward to him doing that inside-out effect, like he said. I just, it's going to be a tough road for a couple of years, and I think that the fans of Indiana basketball have to brace with us, as there's going to be a couple of bumps on the road in the first 3 years. I'm fully confident that he will get both Clifton Moore and Al Durham back if he tries hard enough, and I think that they want to play for Indiana. It's a prestigious program, one of the top 10 in the country, name-wise, historically-wise, so I think that I'll believe it when I see it, but I was happy to hear about his inside-out plan.
Yeah, I'm right there with you guys. I think it's going to be a process, and going from an A-10 school over to a Big Ten school might be a little bit of an adjustment. And I think with a program like Indiana, fans always want satisfaction now. But I also think with people that have gone to school here, they're alumni that I think can see this program through. So moving on to this, there's a lot of buzz around. There's a lot of people commenting on this stuff. What are let's say 3 things. What are 3 things you've seen around the NCAA, even with NBA and what people have said? What's interesting things you've seen spark about Archie Miller, Zan?
Well, you said one thing about maybe an adjustment from the A-10 to the Big Ten, but Archie Miller has coached in this league before. He was an assistant at Ohio State, and even in his playing days, he played in the ACC at NC State. He's been in the Pac-12 as an assistant coach at Arizona and Arizona State, so he's been all around. I think Archie, with what you're hearing from other head coaches, John Calipari, his brother, you hear just that he's a tireless worker and he's going to put basketball first. And that's really what I took away out of his press conference. He talked about basketball and he talked about family, is what you alluded to, not really politics or anything. So he's a basketball guy and he's really focused on that. And I think one of the biggest things I could take away from his press conference is the fact whenever he was asked about his style of play, he said, well, we're going to be tough and nasty on defense. And I think that's what Indiana fans want to hear, especially after Tom Crean's defense really being shoddy.
Well, Archie Miller's known for the defense.
Right.
Indiana's been defense efficiency outside the top 100, where Dayton's been inside the top 20, 30 the past couple of years.
So I think that something that's great about the team we have right now at this present moment is he said, these weren't my players. They were Tom Crean's players, but you're my players now. And I love that because we have prolific scorers on the team. We have guys who can, drive the lane. And now he's going to add that defense that he brought to Dayton for the past 5 years in the A-10. I think, like Zan said, is what kind of is my biggest question is how are you going to take the realm at a Power 5 conference program and really make it your own? So I'm really interested to see what he does in his first. Not to discredit Dayton. It's a great job, but it's a big time job now. This is the big boy stage. I'm really that's my biggest question right now is what is Archie Miller going to do to set himself above every other Big Ten team in the conference?
And I think he'll be able to figure that out along the way. Archie Miller, a man who has proven his worth in the A-10 conference. He'll waste no time getting acclimated to his Big Ten team, the Indiana Hoosiers. Thank you for being with us today, Zan. I'm Jordan Burroughs with Joe Benedetto. Thank you for tuning in to this special edition of Cream v. Crimson.
Thanks, Jordan, and be sure to stay tuned after the break.
Wrapping up the show, we'll let you know what's ahead this upcoming week in IU athletics.
I wouldn't be here if it weren't for Indiana University.
Welcome back to Our Indiana.
Before we sign off, let's first forward and take a look at the week ahead for IU athletics. Amani Keith joins us now with more.
Thanks, guys. The Hoosiers have a busy week ahead of them, so let's get started. The baseball team has a week packed with home games starting with Evansville on Tuesday and ISU on Wednesday. Following that, the men get a break before having a 3-game series against Nebraska. If you can't make it to the games, you can tune in to BTN Plus to catch the action. The women also have a full week ahead as they travel to Louisville on Wednesday to face off against the Cardinals. Following that, they head to Penn State to play the Nittany Lions Friday through Sunday. The women's rowing team compete in their first actual meet for the spring season on Sunday. They will be competing at home in a Big Ten double duel against Ohio State and Rutgers. After coming off a decent performance at the GCU Invite, the men's golf team will be at home Saturday and Sunday for the Hoosier Invitational. Be sure to come out and support them. And of course, if you missed any of the action, you can find the results at iuhoosiers.com. That's all I have for you this week. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Imani. Well, that does it for this week.
Be sure to tune back in next week for the next episode of Our Indiana.